Okay, picking up where I left off on the last video. Let's see. I just wanted to add down here at the bottom of my draw function, I would like to print line, I'm going to print out my page variable, right? Copy that into there. Okay, so there. So it's telling me now that I'm on page 1, right? So now here's the thing. So as we recall, I'm starting, if page equals 1, go to page 2. If page equals 2, go to page 3, all the way down to there. So now here, if I click, it goes through all the pages. Okay. Okay, that's a problem, and why is that? I just to illustrate, I had put all the buttons one on top of the other on each corresponding consecutive page, right? So what happened was the next page also that button got activated and zip, zip, zip. You see, so in order to deal with the buttons not zipping through all the pages, what we have to do is kind of create like a gate of sorts, you know. Now here I've used if mouse is pressed, and of course I haven't also added collision detection in there yet, so I could press anywhere on the screen, you know, I don't have to just click the button, you know. But in place of the Khan Academy variable mouse is pressed, I'm basically going to create my own variable here. And I'm just going to call it mouse pressed, which, as far as I know, isn't a reserved keyword. And we'll start out with mouse pressed equals F8LSE, like that. There we go. So now, using the built-in mouse clicked function, equals function, that. Inside there, we're just going to say that if the mouse is clicked, we're going to temporarily change this to true. Okay, so now we know it's true. Okay, and then so now down here where I said if mouse is pressed, that's basically the same as saying if mouse is pressed equals true, right? So here I could say if mouse pressed, right? If mouse pressed equals true, then we'll do the function, but then also we'll set the variable promptly back to false. See, that should prevent it zipping through. But also, let me see, even if the mouse isn't pressed, actually, technically, let me go out, click that out of there. We're going to do it at the very last thing in the button. Is what's going to happen, you know. Let me illustrate. Let me go. So what could happen? If it's in there, I could click out here. Let me. Of course. Well, once I add my collision detection, you know. But so we'll get that happening. But this needs to be out here for now. Okay. We'll run the function, very last thing, and we'll set it all back to false, you know, for the next button click. Okay, great. Here, besides just mouse pressed, which means I could click anywhere, basically, you know, I need to also get my collision detection going, you know. And, of course, we know with the collision detection, that would be if the mouse X is greater than the X, right? Normally. However, in this case, we have reset the rect mode. So now the X, instead of being up here, the top left-hand corner, is in the very center, right? So now we need to see if the mouse X is greater than this minus half the width, basically, here, right? So it would be if mouse pressed and let me see, and mouse X, right, is greater than X minus 50, right? I'm just going to pencil in, you know, hard code these numbers. You know, I could be making a separate variable for that. You know, I'm just like just going to cheat a little here. Okay, so now what will happen if I click there or anywhere to, east of the border here, boom, it's going to activate, right? So now, just to illustrate, had I done it this way, let me restart, I could click out here and then see, as soon as I move over the button, because it's been activated, and there was nothing to deactivate it in there unless the mouse was inside. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I have to move that out there, and then it will reset it either way, so good to go. Okay, so now I have it so it's over to the left, so clearly I just have to add the rest of the collision detection, which is we're checking same thing here. If mouse X is greater than or and if mouse X is less than this side, which is here's the X plus half the distance, so X plus 50 there, right? Okay, so I can grab, I think, all of this, then copy that, and then we'll add another and start a new line, paste all of that, and so now we can basically, we're going to do the same thing with the Y values here, only the thickness of the height of our object was a little smaller. It was 60, right? So half of 60 in this case will be 30, right? 30, and we want to use the Y value here. Okay, so now we should have can't click anywhere out here, but anywhere inside is fair game, and it doesn't go zipping through all of them at one time because we've set the gate and then reset it each time. Very nice smooth action there. Let me see. So I could let me get these pages on another page thing. And just to kind of clean things up a little bit, you get the basics of it. How to not zip through pages. And so we made our reusable function there, button function. Right, and kept it kind of minimal. If, for instance, I also needed buttons of various sizes for whatever reason, then clearly, I could also have my width and height parameters in there. I just threw it off because then, of course, you would have to also add the extra parameters in here to correspond to it. Maybe you wouldn't want to use width, maybe capital width or something, so it doesn't possibly conflict with the width, which would be our window width of 400, right? So it might not because it's inside the button function, but always good to be safe on things like that, there you have a pretty versatile button function, somewhat minimal. And one other thing. Okay, so here I've made some changes, right, to alignment, just for my button here, right. Let's say that I also have some other things going on out here in some graphics and stuff, and now I go throw my button function into something else, it's like, oh, and here I've got a function, it's reusable. I can grab this, go throw it into another program, and kind of there I got buttons, right? Except, oh wow, everything in my program is going to go all wonky because here I've customized some of the settings in there. Okay, so a way to prevent that from happening would be inside my function. I'm going to set something called push style. Like this. And what that does essentially is takes a snapshot of any of the alignment settings and stuff that you may have made inside the whatever block of code, right? So like if you want to protect something from other things in your code, so down here, down after I draw everything, I can set the alignment back. I'll just put it, down here at the bottom of the function, along with the mouse pressed there, and call it pop style, and that sets everything back again. Okay, so this is a handy way of preventing other things out here in your program, from also like getting out of alignment, and you can use that for various blocks of code. It's like I want to draw something that's centered, a rectangle that's centered here, and then for whatever reason I want to draw a rectangle and use the other coordinates over there. So that way, I could set it back manually to corner like that. You see, but this is just kind of a way to isolate a little bit of code and not have it changing things you don't want. Yeah. Okay, so that is flipping through pages. I could be saying if page equals intro, page equals game, whatever you want, or if the numerical system is handy, where I could see if I'm using a numerical system here instead of saying in the function page equals 2, I could just say page plus plus, and have one button function, that just increments the page each time, same thing, So then I don't have to even go down and change these values if I want to copy and paste, there you go. So button function.